Elon Musk absolutely mocks and humiliates the pathetically woke outlet MSNBC. We're going to take a look at what precipitated that response. We're going to see how George Soros and others are trying to intimidate companies from advertising on Musk's Twitter. And stick with me at the very end of this video when I'll reveal precisely why all such intimidations are failing and have failed for good. You are not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Great to be with you. As always, I am your daily fake news antidote. So come on in to your Patriot Professor's Den, where I help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Before we begin, as many of you have noticed, we have been successfully remonetized here on YouTube. We've been fighting cancel culture over the last month, and I have a lot of firsthand experience with how big tech is trying to get rid of free speech. These are important times to understand how to stand up against cancel culture. Just look at what Elon Musk and Trump are trying to do. So as a thank you to all of you for your support over this last month, I'm going to be hosting an absolutely free training webinar on canceling cancel culture next Friday, May 13th, at 2 p.m. Eastern. Now, this is my gift to you. There's absolutely no charge. We're going to take a deep dive together next Friday the 13th and learn all about canceling cancel culture. But here is the kicker. There are only 3,000 spots available with our Zoom software, and we completely sold out the last time I did a webinar like this in a matter of 2 days. So don't wait. Again, it's absolutely free. Stop what you're doing, click on that link below to sign up, or you can go to update.turleytalks.com to sign up for the event. This topic is more important now than ever, and I cannot wait to see you there next Friday. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. Elon Musk is on fire. He's been on fire even before his purchasing of Twitter, but ever since then, he has dialed up the heat, as it were, on his fellow media moguls. The latest incident started with an absurd monologue coming from MSNBC's borderline illiterate commentator, Mehdi Hasan, who railed against Musk and the so-called far right. Take a look.
I mean, it's easy in American discourse to talk simplistically about the far left and the far right as two equally dangerous fringe blocks. Elon Musk has done it plenty of times just in the past week. But here's the difference. America's far left wants to give us free healthcare and free childcare. America's far right wants to give us white supremacy and no democracy. And this asymmetrical polarization of US politics would be laughable if it weren't so horrifying. We are living through an unspeakably dangerous moment. The pro-QAnon, pro-neo-Nazi faction of the Republican Party is poised to expand dramatically come the midterms. We're just 2 years away from Donald Trump very possibly re-seizing executive power. If that happens, we may look back on this past week as a pivotal moment, when a petulant and not-so-bright billionaire casually bought one of the world's most influential messaging machines and just handed it to the far right. I'm joined now by Molly Jong-Fast, a contributing writer at The Atlantic and the author of The Wait What...
My, oh my, petulant and not-so-bright billionaire. Wow. This MSNBC guy certainly exemplifies the petulance and the not-so-bright characteristics himself. Unfortunately for him, because he truly is petulant and not so bright, his dim-witted lack of self-awareness obviously stands in the way of him ever becoming the richest man in the world. That's why you just heard the intellectual equivalent of a 4-year-old. Far left good, far right bad. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the so-called commentary. Well, the irony in this idiocy that actually passes as political commentary over at the ultra-idiotic MSNBC wasn't lost on Elon Musk. It's increasingly clear that Musk has no patience with that kind of absurdity passing as analysis. In response, Musk tweeted out, NBC basically saying Republicans are Nazis. This is the same organization that covered up Hunter Biden's laptop story, had Harvey Weinstein's story early and then deliberately killed it, and built Matt Lauer his rape office. Lovely people. In other words, Hassan's so-called commentary is nothing more than a minuscule part of the lamestream media's recasting itself as a Democrat super PAC. You can dismiss him. Hassan literally has nothing of value to say whatsoever because he's a shill. He's a woke leftist activist who disguises himself as a journalist. When he opens his mouth, laugh and move on. Snake oil salesmen are closer to the truth than he is. But Musk wasn't done. He went on to tweet, quote, "The far left," note the movement that Hassan was just defending as simply wanting to give us all free health care. The far left hates everyone, including themselves. Now, isn't that more what we see at the far left? The most unhinged, berserk group of people imaginable? We've certainly seen that since the Supreme Court's overturning of Roe v. Wade was leaked out. Take a look at Elizabeth Warren of late. It's uncanny.
Angling for decades now, and we are going to fight back.
Benny Johnson tweeted out that Elizabeth Warren hasn't been that mad since she got her Ancestry DNA results back. Wow. Now, all jokes aside, in case you need reminding, that's a sitting senator. Yes, that person. That's the person that the voters in Massachusetts have repeatedly sent to represent them in Washington, D.C. Or take a look at the latest unhinged hysteria coming from the guardians of women's rights.
This is great.
Yeah, everything normal here. Wow. Now think about it. According to MSNBC, these are the people, they're the ones who just want to give us health care, right? That's all they are, right? These aren't the people demanding that every dissenting voice be silenced. No. These aren't the people who are willing to tear down our nation's rule of law just to push their Marxist agenda. I wonder what Hassan thinks about the Supreme Court leak. Does he care? Of course he doesn't. He doesn't care because he's part of the legacy media. And the left-wing activists that comprise the legacy media are themselves the far left. Now, if you want to know the world that Hassan and the NBC illiterates inhabit, take a look at who else is trying to bring down Elon Musk. Well, it's a group of 26 NGOs and activists making up the who's who of the far left. So we're talking George Soros, Clinton Obama staffers, and feeble, tottering European governments, all of whom are attempting to get companies to boycott Twitter with their advertising dollars. They sent a letter of late to pressure a number of high-ticket advertisers saying, quote, Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter will further toxify our information ecosystem and be a direct threat to public safety, especially among those already most vulnerable and marginalized. Under Musk's management, Twitter risks becoming a cesspool of misinformation, with your brand attached, polluting our information ecosystem in a time where trust in institutions and news media is already at an all-time low. I wonder why that is. Your ad dollars can either fund Musk's vanity project or hold him to account. We call on you to demand Musk censor Twitter. Uphold these basic standards of community trust and safety, and to pull your advertising spending from Twitter if they are not. So, as you can see here, all the far left wants for us is free health care. That's all, right? Well, obviously, as this letter blatantly states, that is not all. The far left today wants to silence you. They want any and all dissenting opinions labeled, quote, disinformation and harmful and a threat to their definition of public safety. Musk himself responded to the open letter with the tweet, who funds these organizations that want to control your access to information? Let's investigate. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. It's a brilliant response, because if you think it through, what Musk is saying here is that because we now have an open global forum on Twitter, we can now openly investigate these far-left organizations who want to control what we can and cannot say. You see, as long as Dorsey and Agrawal were in charge of Twitter, you wouldn't have been allowed to openly investigate these NGOs. You wouldn't have been allowed to ask questions like that or post your investigation findings. Now you can. And this, for me, is what makes Hassan and these odious leftist NGOs, frankly, so pathetic. Their lack of self-awareness is so painfully obvious. that they can't see that their threats mean nothing anymore. And that's because their days of being able to silence us, Musk, anyone else, from a major social media platform, those days have come to an end. The only way they can ultimately intimidate anyone is if they can cancel them. Cancel them, cancel their customers. But the whole point of Musk buying out Twitter was to bring those days to a decisive end. As long as Musk has Twitter, there will always be a major global platform where businesses and supporters and customers can all gather together and give their side of the story directly to the world. There's simply nothing that Soros and the boys can do anymore to stop that. Their days of intimidation are over, which means that their power over our lives is largely over. That's what Hassan and leftist activists over at MSNBC, that's what they're so upset about. They're upset that their days of dictating the narrative have come to an end. The end made all the more decisive by their increasing hysterics. Now, before you go, you will definitely want to check out my latest video I just uploaded on MAGA candidates sweeping yesterday's primaries in a Trumpian blowout. You're not going to want to miss it, so make sure to click on that link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.